की जाए। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रुतर श्रीमार भक्ति वेदांत गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाए। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रुतर श्रीमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाए। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रुतर श्रीमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाए। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रुतर श्रीमार भक्ति विज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाए। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रुतर श्रीमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाए। नितिल विष्णु महाभागवत श्री गोक्षर बाबूजी महाराज की जाए। नितिल विष्णु श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाए। नितिल विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जाए। श्री रूपनु गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जाए। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल दास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जाए। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाए। नाम चैश लहरस ठाकुर की जाए। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाए। सर्व अभिष्ट व्रत गिरिराज महाराज की जाए। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाए। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जाए। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाए। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाए। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जाए। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाए। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाए। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाए। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरि बोल हरि। धन्यवाद प्रणाम कारगराज रसेश्वरी माता जी एंड माधवी दीदी। हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्री श्रीमद्भक्ति वेदांत नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतं कृत्यं द्वैपायनो वीरः कातर आजुहावं पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूत हृदयमुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतं। नष्टप्रायेष्वपरेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol Amit Prabhu. I'm going to be going a bit overtime today, maybe 15 minutes overtime, because I wanted to get through half of this chapter, but it's kind of long. So, all right, I'll just begin. Lord Krishna shows the universal form within his mouth. Chapter 8. But actually, we're not going to get to that part yet. That's in the second half of the chapter. Chapter 8. Lord Krishna, the summary of the 8th chapter is as follows. This chapter describes the ceremony of giving a name to Krishna. It also describes his crawling, his playing with the cows, and his eating earth, and again showing the universal form to his mother. One day, Vasudeva sent for Garga Muni, the family priest of the Yādu, and thus Garga Muni went to the house of Nanda Mahārāja, who received him very well and requested him to give names to Krishna and Balaram. Muni, of course, reminded Nanda Mahārāja that Kamsa was looking for the son of Devotee, and said that if he performs the ceremony very gorgeously, the ceremony would come to the notice of Kamsa, who would then suspect Krishna was the son of Devotee. Nanda Mahārāja therefore requested Garga Muni to perform the ceremony without anyone's knowledge, and because Balaram, the son of Rohiṇī, increases the transcendental bliss of others, his name is Rāma, and because of his extraordinary strength, he is called Baladev. He attracts the Yadus to follow his instructions, and therefore he is Saṅkarṣaṇa. Krishna, the son of Yashoda, previously appeared in many other colors, such as white, red, and yellow, and he had now assumed the color black. Because he was sometimes the son of Vasudeva, his name is Vasudeva. According to his various ideas, he has many other names. After thus informing Nanda Mahārāja and completing the name-giving ceremony, Garga Muni advised Nanda Mahārāja carefully, and then departed. Shukadeva Goswami next described how the two children crawled on their Shukadeva Goswami next described how the two children crawled, walked on their small legs, played with the cows and calves, stole butter and other milk products, and broke the butter pots. In this way, he described many naughty activities of Krishna and Balaram. The most wonderful of these occurred when Krishna's playmates complained to Mother Yashoda that Krishna was eating earth. Mother Yashoda wanted to open Krishna's mouth to see the evidence, so that she could chastise him. Sometimes she assumed the position of a chastising mother, and at the next moment, she was overwhelmed with maternal love. After describing all this to Maharaj Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami sorry, one second. After describing all this to Maharaj Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami, at Maharaj Parikshit's request, praised the fortune of Mother Yashoda and Nanda. Nanda and Yashoda were formerly Drona and Tara, and by the order of Brahma, they came to this earth and had the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son. Shri Shuka Uvacha Garga Purohito Rajan Yadunang Sumatapa Vrajam Jagamanandasya Vasudeva Prachodita. Hare Krishna, Raj Bhuvan Yadav. Shukadeva Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, the priest of the Yadu dynasty, Garga Muni, who was highly elevated in austerity and penance, was then inspired by Vasudeva to go see Nanda Mahārāja at his home. Tang drishtva paramam prita pratyuthaya kritanjali Achadhokshajadhiya pranipata purasaram. When Nanda Mahārāja saw Garga Muni present at his home, Nanda was so pleased that he stood up to receive him with folded hands. Although seeing Garga Muni with his eyes, Nanda Mahārāja could appreciate that Garga Muni was adhokshaj, that is, he was not an ordinary person seen by material senses. Supavishtam kritatityam gira sunritaya munim nandayitva bravid brahman purnasya karavamagim. When Garga Muni had been properly received as a guest and was very comfortably seated, Nanda Mahārāja submitted with gentle and submissive words. Dear sir, because you are a devotee, you are full in everything. Yet my duty is to serve you. Kindly order me. What can I do for you? Mahadvichalanam drenam grihinam dinachetasam nishreyasaya bhagavan kalpate nanyatha kvachit. O my Lord, O great devotee, persons like you move from one place to another, not for their own interests, but for the sake of poor-hearted grihastas, householders. Otherwise, they have no interest in going from one place to another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As factually stated by Nanda Mahārāja, Garga Muni, being a devotee, had no needs. Similarly, when Krishna comes, he has no needs, for he is Purna, Atmaram. Nonetheless, he descends to this material world to protect the devotees and vanquish the miscreants. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam. It's Bhagavad Gita 4.8. This is the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and devotees also have the same mission. One who executes this mission of para upakar, performing welfare activities for people in general, is recognized by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as being very, very dear to him. Na chatasman manusheshu kaśyan me priyakritama. That's Bhagavad Gita 1869. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised para upakar, and he has especially advised the inhabitants of India. Bharata bhumite hoila manusya janma jar, janma sarthak kori koro para upakar. Taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatavarsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 941. On the whole, the duty of a pure Vaishnav devotee is to act for the welfare of others. Nanda Mahārāja could understand that Garga Muni had come for this purpose, and that own duty now was to act according to Garga Muni's advice. Thus he said, "Please tell me, what is my duty?" This should be the attitude of everyone, especially the householder. The Varnashram society is organized into 8 divisions: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Nanda Mahārāja represented himself as Grihinam, a householder. A brahmachari factually has no needs, but Grihi, householders, engaged in sense gratification. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.44, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam. Everyone has come to this material world for sense gratification, and the position of those who are too attached to sense gratification and who therefore accept the Grihastha ashram is very precarious. Since everyone in this material world is searching for sense gratification, Grihasthas are required to be trained as great Mahatmas. Therefore, Nanda Mahārāja specifically used the word Mahadvichalanam. Garga Muni had no interest to serve by going to Nanda Mahārāja, but Nanda Mahārāja, as a Grihastha, was always perfectly ready to receive instructions from a Mahatma to gain the real benefit in life. Thus, he was ready to execute Garga Muni's order. Hari Bol Sudevi Didi and Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, and Rukmani Didi. Cool. cool. Prajumna, you can share the link into our WhatsApp group. Oh, it's a book, he said. Oh, you gave a class today. Cool. Nice. Okay. Jyotisham ayanam shakshar yat tajgyanam atindriyam bhavatayena puman veda paravaram. O great saintly person, you have compiled the astrological knowledge by which one can understand past and present unseen things. By the strength of this knowledge, any human being can understand what he has done in his past life and how it affects his present life. This is known to you. Purport. The word destiny is now defined. Unintelligent persons who do not understand the meaning of life are just like animals. Animals do not know the past, present, and future of life, nor are they able to understand it. But a human being can understand this if he is sober. Therefore, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.13, Dhiras tatra namuhyati, a sober person is not bewildered. The simple truth is that although life is eternal, in this material world one changes from one body to another. Foolish people, especially in this age, do not understand this simple truth. Krishna says, Dehi nosmanita dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. It's Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Krishna's authority says that the body will change. And as soon as the body changes, one's whole program of work changes also. Today I am a human being or a great personality. But with a little deviation from nature's law, I shall have to accept a different type of body. Today I am a human, but tomorrow I may become a dog. And then whatever activities I performed in this life will be a failure. This simple truth is now rarely understood, but one who is a dhira can understand this. Those in this material world for material enjoyment should know that because their present position will cease to exist, they must be careful in how they act. I posted on the Vine of Devotion channel a class of my Gurudev talking about how even if one receives diksha, he can still fall into the animal species. He can fall down still. So there's no guarantee that we're safe just because we've received diksha from the Mahābhāgavata. This is also stated by Rishabhadev. Nasadhu manye yata atmano yang asan api klisha da asa deha. That's from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 5.5.4. Although it is temporary, as long as we have to live in this body, we must suffer. Whether one has a short life or a long life, one must suffer the threefold miseries. Therefore, any gentleman, any dhira, must be interested in Jyotish, astrology. Interesting. Oh, and just by the way, my Guru didn't say exactly like that. He said, he was mentioning how if you actually taken diksha in the real sense, that's a different thing. But just, yeah. Okay. Nanda Mahārāja was trying to take advantage of the opportunity afforded by Garga Muni's presence, for Garga Muni was a great authority in this knowledge of astrology, by which one can see the unseen events of past, present, and future. It is the duty of a father to understand the astrological position of his children and do what is needed for their happiness. Now, taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by the presence of Garga Muni, Nanda Mahārāja suggested that Garga Muni prepare a horoscope for Nanda's two sons, Kṛṣṇa and Bala. My father does astrology, if anybody wants. Manjari Didi. Tam hi brahma vidam sheshta sanskaram kartumarhasi balayor anayor nrinang janmana brahmano guru. My Lord, you are the best of the Brahmins, especially because you are fully aware of the Jyoti Shastra. It says Jyoti, not Jyotish. Huh? astrological science. Therefore, you are naturally the spiritual master of every human being. This being so, since you have kindly come to my house, kindly execute the reformatory activities for my two sons. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarna maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagashah. The four varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, must be present in society. The Brahmans are required for the guidance of the whole society. If there is no such institution as Varnashram Dharma, and if human society has no such guide as the Brahman, human society will be hellish. In Kali Yuga, especially at the present moment, there is no such thing as a real Brahman, and therefore society is in a chaotic condition. Formerly, there were qualified Brahmins, but at present, although there are certainly persons who think themselves Brahmins, they actually have no ability to guide society. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore very much eager to reintroduce the Varnashram system into human society so that those who are bewildered or less intelligent will be able to take guidance from qualified Brahmins. Brahman means Vaishnav. After one becomes a Brahman, the next stage of development in human society is to become a Vaishnav. People in general must be guided to the destination or goal of life, and therefore they must understand Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The whole system of Vedic knowledge is based on this principle, but people have lost the clue. Nate vidu swartha gatim hishnum. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 7.531. And they are simply pursuing sense gratification with the risk of gliding down to a lower grade of life. Mritu saṅsara vartamani. It doesn't matter whether one is born a Brahman or not. No one is born a Brahman. Everyone is born a Shudra. But by the guidance of a Brahman and by samskar, one can become a Dvija, twice born, and then gradually become a Brahman. Brahmanism is not a system meant to create a monopoly for a particular class of men. Everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahman. At least there must be an opportunity to allow everyone to attain the destination of life. Regardless of whether one is born in a Brahman family, a Kshatriya family, or a Shudra family, one may be guided by a proper Brahman and be promoted to the highest platform of being a Vaishnav. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. Nanda Mahārāja took advantage of the opportunity of Garga Muni's presence by requesting him to perform the necessary reformatory activities for his sons to guide them toward the destination of life. Shri Garga Uvada Yādunang ahamat acharya kyatascha bhuvi sarvada sutang maya samskritang te manyate devaki sutam. Garga Muni said, My dear Nanda Mahārāja, I am the priestly guide of the Yadu dynasty. This is known everywhere. Therefore, if I perform the purificatory process for your sons, Kamsa will consider them the sons of Devaki. Purport. Garga Muni indirectly disclosed that Krishna was the son of Devaki, not of Yashoda. Since Kamsa was already searching for Krishna, if the purificatory process were undertaken by Garga Muni, Kamsa might be informed, and that would create a catastrophe. It may be argued that although Garga Muni was the priest of the Yadu dynasty, Nanda Mahārāja also belongs to that dynasty. Nanda Mahārāja, however, was not acting as a Kshatriya. Therefore, Garga Muni said, If I act as your priest, this will confirm that Krishna is the son of Devaki. Kamsa papa mali sakyam tava chana kadundubhe devakya ashtamo garbo nastri bhavitumarhati iti sanchintaya trutva devakya vacha apihanta gata shankas tarhitanno nayo bhavet. Kamsa is both a great diplomat and a very sinful man. Therefore, having heard from Yogamaya, the daughter of Devaki, that the child who will kill him has already been born somewhere else, having heard that the eighth pregnancy of Devaki could not bring a fourth. And having heard that the eighth pregnancy of Devaki could not bring forth a female child, and having understood your friendship with Vasudeva, Kamsa, upon hearing that the purificatory process has been performed by me, the priest of the Yadu dynasty, may certainly consider all these points and suspect that Krishna is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. Then he might take steps to kill Krishna. That would be a catastrophe. Kamsa knew very well that Yogamaya was, after all, the maidservant of Krishna and Vishnu. She was the maidservant of Krishna and Vishnu, and that although Yogamaya had appeared as the daughter of Devaki, she might have been forbidden to disclose this fact. Actually, this was what had happened. Garga Muni argued very soberly that his taking part in performing the reformatory process for Krishna would give rise to many doubts that Kamsa might take very severe steps to kill the child. Kamsa had already sent many demons to attempt to kill it, but none of them had survived. If Garga Muni were to perform the purificatory process, Kamsa's suspicions would be fully complete, and he would take very severe steps. Garga Muni gave this warning to Nanda Mahārāja. Shri Nanda Uvacha Alakshitosmin rahasi mamakar apigo vraje guru dvijati sanskaram swasti vachana purvakam. Nanda Mahārāja said, "My dear great sage, if you think that you're performing this process of purification will make Kamsa suspicious, then secretly chant the Vedic hymns and perform the purifying process of second birth here in the cowshed of my house, without the knowledge of anyone else, even my relatives, for this process of purification is essential." Oops! Oh my god, I just realized that this mic had fallen down this whole time. Has anybody been able to hear me? Okay, well, it looks like people were able to hear me still. Sorry about that. This is on the ground. Okay. How did that fall down? Thanks for sticking by me. Yes, Amit Prabhu, but yes, that's true, Amit Prabhu, but what my Gurudev was saying is that we haven't fully, like, we're just beginning the process of Diksha, but we haven't fully, it's not such an easy thing that anybody can get Diksha and then all of a sudden everything's, like, we've entered the process of Diksha. And so, but at this stage, when we're just entering the process of Diksha, we can still easily fall down into lower species. Like, just receiving the mantra doesn't mean actually receiving, it doesn't actually mean getting Diksha. It's like the first step is receiving the mantras, but then, yeah. Okay, translation. Nanda Mahārāja said, "My dear great sage," did I already read this? Oh yes, I did. Okay, so purport. Nanda Mahārāja did not like the idea of avoiding the purificatory process. Despite the many obstacles, he wanted to take advantage of Garga's presence and do what was necessary. The purificatory process is essential, specifically for Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. Therefore, since Nanda Mahārāja presented himself as a Vaishya, this process of purification was essential. Formerly, such institutional activities were compulsory. Chatur varnam maya shishtam guna karma vibhagasha. It's Bhagavad Gita 4. Without these activities of purification, the society would be considered a society of animals. To take advantage of Garga Muni's presence, Nanda Mahārāja wanted to perform the Namkaran ceremonies secretly, without any gorgeous arrangements. Therefore, the opportunity for purification should be regarded as the essential duty of human society. In Kali Yuga, however, people have forgotten the essence. Manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hipadrutaha. That's the 10th verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the beginning. In this age, people are all bad and unfortunate, and they do not accept Vedic instructions to make their life successful. Nanda Mahārāja, however, did not want to neglect anything. To keep intact society advanced in spiritual knowledge, he took full advantage of Garga Muni's presence to do what was necessary. How degraded society has become within 5,000 years. Manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya. The human life is obtained after many, many millions of births, and it is intended for purification. Previously, a father was eager to give all kinds of help to children, but at present, because of being misguided, people are prepared even to kill to avoid responsibility of raising children. Shri Shuka Uvacha Evang Sampratito Vipra Swachikirshitamev tat Chakara Namakaranam Gudhora Hasibalayo. Shukadeva Goswami continued, having thus been especially requested by Nanda Mahārāja to do which he already desired to do, Garga Muni performs the name-giving ceremony for Krishna and Balaram in a solitary place. Garga Uvacha Ahini Putro Ramayan Suhrido Gunai Akyasyate Rama iti Baladhikyad Balang Vidu Yadunang Apitag Bhavat Saṅkarṣaṇam Ushantyapi. Garga Muni said, "This child, the son of Rohiṇī, will give all happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. Therefore, he will be known as Rāma, and because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will also be Bala. Moreover, he unites two families, Vasudeva's family and the family of Nanda Mahārāja. He will be known as Saṅkarṣaṇa." Purport. Baladeva was actually the son of Devotee, but he was transferred from Devaki's womb to that of Rohiṇī. This fact was not disclosed. According to a statement in the Hari Vangsha, Prativacha tato Rama sarvang stan abhita stitan Yādavesh vapi sarveshu bhavant mama vallabha. Garga Muni did not disclose to Nanda Mahārāja that Balaram would be known as Saṅkarṣaṇa because of uniting two families, the Yadu Vangsha and the Vangsha of Nanda Mahārāja, one of which was known as Kshatriya and the other as Vaishya. Both families had the same original forefather, the only difference being that Nanda Mahārāja was born of a Vaishya wife, whereas Vasudeva was born of a Kshatriya wife. Later, Nanda Mahārāja married a Vaishya wife, and Vasudeva married a Kshatriya wife. So although the families of Nanda Mahārāja and Vasudeva both came from the same father, they were divided as Kshatriya and Vaishya. Now Baladeva united them, and therefore he was known as Saṅkarṣaṇa. Oh, they taught us we had to memorize this verse in Gurukul. This is evidence that this is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It says, Shuklo Raktas Tata Pita. So, in the four yugas, Krishna, the Lord appears in a white form, in a red form, and in Kali Yuga he appears in a yellow form. And in this, and in the Dwapara Yuga, he takes a blackish form, Krishnatam. Asan varnastrayo hyasya grinato no yugam tanu shuklo raktas tata pita idaning krishnatangata. Your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in a millennium. In the past, he assumes three different colors, white, red, and yellow. And now he has appeared in a blackish color. In another Dwapara Yuga, he appeared as Lord Ramachandra, the color of Shuka, a parrot. All such incarnations have now assembled in Krishna. Dwapara Yuga? But Ram appears in Treta Yuga. Maybe in some yugas. Oh, wait. Isn't it switched around? Yeah, I think this yuga, this Chaturga is different. Usually Treta Yuga is the third one, but this Chaturga, it's Dwapara is the third one, I think. I don't know. If anybody has confirmation of that. Is this past tense though? Anyways, doesn't matter. Purport. Partially in the position of Lord Krishna and partially covering the facts, Garga Muni indicated. His son is a great personality, and he can change the color of his body in different ages. The word Gnata indicates that Krishna is free to make his choice. In other words, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and may therefore do whatever he desires. In Vedic literature, the different colors assumed by the personality of Godhead in different millenniums are stated. And therefore, when Garga Muni said, "Your son has assumed these colors," he indirectly said, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Because of Kamsa's atrocities, Garga Muni tried to avoid disclosing this fact, but he indirectly informed Nanda Mahārāja that Krishna, his son, was the supreme personality of Godhead. It may be noted that Srila Jiva Goswami in his book Krama Sandarbha has enunciated the purport of this verse. In every millennium, Krishna appears in a different form, either as white, red, or yellow. But this time, he personally appeared in his original blackish form, and, as predicted by Garga Muni, exhibited the power of Nārāyaṇa. Because in this form the Supreme Personality of God exhibits himself fully, his name is Shri Krishna, the all-attractive. Factually, Krishna is the source of all avatars, and therefore, all different features of the different avatars are present in Krishna. When Krishna incarnates, all the features of other incarnations are already present within him. Other incarnations are partial representations of Krishna, who is the full-fledged incarnation of the Supreme Being. It is to be understood that the Supreme Being, whether appearing as Shukla, Rakta, or Pita, white, red, or yellow, is the same person. When he appears in different incarnations, he appears in different colors, just like the sunshine, which contains 7 colors. Sometimes the colors of sunshine are represented separately. Otherwise, the sunshine is observed mainly as bright light. The different avatars, such as the Manvantara avatars, Lila avatars, and Dasha avatars, are all included in the Krishna avatar. When Krishna appears, all the avatars appear with him, as described in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.3.26. Avatara yasankyeya hare sattva niderdvija asina kulya sarasa syusahas. The avatars incessantly appear, like incessantly flowing water. No one can count how many waves there are in flowing water. And similarly, there is no limitation of avatars. And Krishna is the full representation of all avatars because he is the source of all avatars. Krishna is Angshi, whereas the others are Angsha of Krishna. Hare Krishna. All living entities, including us, are Angshas. Amai Vangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That's Bhagavad Gita 15.7. These Angshas are of different magnitude. Recording chalchi. Human beings, these Angshas are, and so we are also Angsha, we're Vibhinangsha, we're separated parts. So these Angshas are also of different magnitude. Human beings, who are minute Angshas, and demigods, Vishnu, and the demigods, Vishnu Tattva and all other living beings are part of the Supreme. Wow, so we're all part of the Supreme. Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. That's from Kata Upanishad 2.2.13. Krishna is full representation of all living entities, and when Krishna is present, all avatars are included in him. The 11th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam describes the incarnations for each yuga in chronological order. The Bhagavatam says, Krite Shuklas Krite Shuklash Turpahu Tretayam Rakso Dvapare Bhagavan Shyama and Krishna Varnam Krishna Krishna. That's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.532. We actually see that in Kali Yuga, Bhagavan has appeared in Pita Varna, or a yellow color, as Gaura Sundar, although the Bhagavatam speaks of Krishna Varna. To adjust to all these statements, one should understand that although in some yugas, some of the colors are prominent, yuga, whenever Krishna appears, all the colors are present. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears without Krishna, or a blackish color, he is understood to be Krishna himself. Because it says Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishna, Krishna. Anyways, he is understood to be Krishna himself. Idanim Krishna Tam Gata. The same original Krishna who appears in different varnas has now appeared. The word asan indicates that he is always present. Whenever the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in his full feature, he is understood to be Krishna Varna, although he appears in different colors. Prahlad Maharaj states that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Channa, that is, that although he is Krishna, he is covered by a yellow color. Thus, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas accept the conclusion that although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Pita color, he is Krishna. Krishna Varnam Cha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. That's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.532. Yes, Amit Prabhu. I mean, that's Garga, what's his name? Gargacharya gave Balaram the name Ram, right? Ram and Baladev and Saṅkarṣaṇa, those three names. Haribo Rohit Radhakrishna. Gayam Vasudevasya Kvachij Jatas Tavatmaja Vasudeva iti Shriman Abhigya Sampratrakshate. Reasons this beautiful son of yours sometimes appeared previously as a son of Vasudeva. Therefore, those who are learned sometimes call this child. Purport. Garga Muni indirectly disclosed. This child was originally born as a son of Vasudeva, although he is acting as your child. Generally, he is your child, but sometimes he is the son of Vasudeva. Bahuni santinamani rupani chasthasyate guna karmanu rupani tanyaham vedano jana. For this son of yours, there are many forms and names according to his transcendental qualities and activities. These are known to me, but people in general do not understand them. Purport. Bahuni, the Lord has many names. Advaita Machuta Manade Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 533, the Lord is one, but he has many forms and many names. It was not that because Garga Muni gave the child the name Krishna that was his only name. He has other names, such as Bhakata Vatsala, Giridhari, Govinda, and Gopal. If we analyze the nirukti, or the semantic derivation, derivarate. God, I think saying this word wrong all the time. Anyways, derivation. Sorry, guys. If we analyze the nirukti, the semantic derivation of the word Krishna, we find that na signifies that he stops the repetition of birth and death. Krish means satartha, or existence. Krishna is the whole of existence. Also, Krish means attraction, and na means ananda, or bliss. Krishna is known as Mukunda because he wants to give everyone spiritual, eternal, blissful life. Unfortunately, because of the living entity's little independence, the living entity wants to deprogram the program of Krishna. I like that. Unfortunately, because of the living entity's little independence, the living entity wants to deprogram the program of Krishna. This is called material disease. Nonetheless, because Krishna wants to give transcendental bliss to the living entities, he appears in various forms. Therefore, he is called Krishna. Because Garga Muni is an astrologer, he knew what others did not know. Yet Krishna has so many names that even Garga Muni did not know them all. It is to be concluded that Krishna, according to his transcendental life, has many names and many forms. Esha Vashya Adhasyad Gopa Gokula Nandana Anena Sarva Durgani Yuyam Anjastarishyata. To increase the child bliss of the cowherd men of Gokul, this child will always act auspiciously for you, and by his grace only, you will surpass all difficulties. Purport. For the cowherd men and the cows, Krishna is the supreme friend. Therefore, he is worshipped by the prayer Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. His pastimes in Gokul, his dham, are always favorable for the Brahmins and the cows. His first business is to give all comfort to the cows and the Brahmins. In fact, comfort for the Brahmins is secondary, and comfort for the cows is his first concern. Because of his presence, all people would overcome all difficulties and always be situated in transcendental bliss. Puranena vrajapate sadavasupapidita rajake rakshyamana jigyurtasyum samedhita. O Nanda Mahārāja, as recorded in history, when there is an irregular, incapable government, Indra, having been owned, and people were being harassed by thieves, this child appeared in order to protect the people and enable them to flourish, and he curbed the rogues and thieves. Report. Indra is the king of the universe. Demons, thieves, and rogues always disturb Indra in Dari Vyakulam Lokam. But when Indraris, the enemy become prominent, Krishna appears. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vridayanti Yuge Yuge. Verse 18. Ya etasmin mahabhag pritim kurvanti manava Nārayo pi bhavantenan Vishnun pakshan ivasura. Demons, asuras, cannot harm the demigods who always have Lord Vishnu on their side. Similarly, any person or group attached to Krishna is extremely fortunate. Because such persons are very much affectionate toward Krishna, they cannot be defeated by demons like the associates of Kamsa, or by the enemies, the senses. 19. Tasmanandatmajo yante Nārāyaṇa samogunai Shriya kirtyanubhavena gopayasva samahita. In conclusion, therefore, O Nanda Mahārāja, this child of yours is as good as Nārāyaṇa. In his transcendental qualities, opulence, name, fame, and influence, he is exactly like Nārāyaṇa. You should all raise this child very carefully and cautiously. Purport. In this verse, the word Nārāyaṇa Sama is significant. Nārāyaṇa has no equal. He is asamordhva. No one is equal to him, and no one is greater than he is, as stated in Shastra. Yastu Nārayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Daivatai Samatvenai Viksheta Sa Pashandi Pavedruvam. One who equates Narayan, even with great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, is a Pashandi, an agnostic. No one can equal Nārāyaṇa. Nonetheless, Garga Muni used the word sama, meaning equal, because he wanted to treat Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead who had become Nanda Mahārāja's son. Garga Muni wanted to impart upon the mind of Nanda Mahārāja, your worshipable deity, Nārāyaṇa, is so pleased with you that he has sent you a son almost equal to him in qualifications. Therefore, you may designate your son with a similar name, such as Mukunda or Madhusudana. You can designate him, But you must always remember that whenever you want to do something very good, there will be many hindrances. Therefore, you should raise and protect this child with great care. If you protect this child very cautiously, as Nārāyaṇa always protects you, the child will be as good as Nārāyaṇa. Garga Muni also indicated that although the child was exaltedly qualified like Nārāyaṇa, he would enjoy more than Nārāyaṇa as Ras Vihari, the central enjoyer of the Ras dance. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Lakshmi Sahasras Shatasam Brahma Sevyamanam, he would be served by many gopis who would all be as good as the goddess of fortune. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityatmanam samadishya gargecha sagriham gate nanda pramudito mene atmanam purnamashisham. Srila Shukadev Goswami continued. After Garga Muni, having instructed Nanda Krishna, departed for his own home, Nanda Mahārāja was very pleased and considered himself full of all good fortune. Purport. Krishna is the supreme, and Nanda Mahārāja is the individual soul. By the instant, both of them were blessed. Nanda Mahārāja was thinking of Krishna's safety from the hands of demons like Putana and Shakatasura, and because he possessed such a son, he thought of himself as most fortunate. Kalena vrajatalpena gokule Rāma Keshavo janubhyam sahapanibhyam ringamano vijahratu. After a short time passed, both brothers, Rāma and Krishna, began to crawl on the ground of Vraj with the strength of their hands and knees, and thus enjoy their childhood play. Hari Bol Sajan Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, and Yashora Didi. I have no idea, Rupanjali Didi. Hey, what happened? What happened to the... That's so strange. I just lost my spot. That's so bizarre. Anyways, I know we can just look up the word crawl. Crawl. Legs. Oh, so it went to chapter 1. So bizarre. Chapter 8. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I think we read up to here. Yes, okay. So after a short time passed, both brothers, Rāma and Krishna, began to crawl on the grounds of Vraj with the strength of their hands and knees, and thus enjoy their childhood play. Purport. One Brahman devotee says, Shrutim apare smritim ittare bharatam anye bhajantu bhava bhita ahang iha nandam vande yasyalinde parang brahma. Let others, fearing material existence, worship the Vedas, the Vedic supplementary Puranas, and the Mahabharata. But I shall worship Nanda Mahārāja, in whose courtyard the Supreme Brahman is crawling. For a highly exalted devotee, Kaivalya, merging into the existence of the Supreme, appears no better than hell. narakayate. But here, one can simply think of the crawling of Krishna and Balaram and that of Nanda Mahārāja, and always merge in transcendental happiness. As long as one is absorbed in thoughts of Krishna Lila, especially Krishna's childhood pastimes, as Parikshit Maharaj desired to be, one is always merged in actual Kaivalya. Therefore, Vyasadeva compiled Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Ya Janato Vedvansh Chakre Sattvata Samhitam, at Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 176. Vyasadeva compiled Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam under the instruction of Nārāyaṇa, so that anyone can take advantage of this literature, think of Krishna's pastimes, and always be liberated. Shrutim apare smritam itare bharatam anye bhajantu bhava bhita aham iha nandam vande yasyalinde param brahma. Tavangri yogma manukrishya sarish panto Ghosha praghosha ruchiram prajakartameshu Tanada hrishta manasa manusritya lokam Mugdha prabhita varupe yaturanti matro. When Krishna and Balaram, with the strength of their legs, crawled in the muddy places created in Braj by cow dung and cow urine, their crawling resembled the crawling of serpents, and the sounds of their very much pleased by the sounds of other people's ankle bells, they used to follow these people as if going to their mothers. But when they saw that these were other people, they became afraid and returned to their real mothers, Yashoda and Rohiṇī. It's so sweet. Purport. When Krishna and Balaram were crawling about in Vrajabhumi, they were enchanted by the sounds of ankle bells. Thus, they sometimes followed other people, who would enjoy the crawling of Krishna and Balaram and exclaim, "Oh, see how Krishna and Balaram are crawling!" Upon hearing this, Krishna and Balaram could understand that these were their mothers, that these were not their mothers that they were following, and they would return to their actual mothers. Thus, the crawling of Krishna and Balaram was enjoyed by the people of the neighborhood, as well as by Mother Yashoda and Rohiṇī, and the two children themselves. I remember when I was, anyways, that rhymes. Tanmataro nijasuto grihinayas. Tanmataro nijasuto grinayas nuvanto ankangara garuchira upagrihya dorbhyam datvasanam prapibhato smamukam niriksha mugdo sal pradashanam yayatu pramodam. Dressed with muddy earth mixed with coloring, the babies looked very beautiful, and when they went to their mothers, both Yashoda and Rohiṇī picked them up with great affection, embraced them, and allowed them to suck the milk flowing from their breasts. While sucking the breasts, the babies smiled, and their small teeth were visible. Their mothers, upon seeing those beautiful teeth, enjoyed great transcendental bliss. Purport. As the mothers cared for their respective babies by the arrangement of Yogamaya, the babies thought, "Here is my mother," and the mothers thought, "Here is my son." Because of affection, milk naturally flowed from the mother's breasts, and the babies drank it. When the mothers saw small teeth coming in, they would count them and be happy, and when the babies saw their mothers allowing them to drink their breast milk, the babies also felt transcendental pleasure. As this transcendental affection continued between Rohiṇī and Balaram and Yashoda and Krishna, they all enjoyed transcendental bliss. We're almost finished. Yarhyangana darshaniya kumara lila antarvajetar bala pragrahita puchai. Sorry guys, prekshantya ujita griha jahrishur hasantya. I messed up this one. Within the house of Nanda Mahārāja, the cowherd ladies would enjoy seeing the pastimes of the babies Rāma and Krishna. The babies would catch the ends of the calves' tails, and the tails would drag them here and there. When the ladies saw these pastimes, they certainly stopped their household activities and laughed and enjoyed the incidents. Purport. Marveling in curiosity, Krishna and Balaram would sometimes catch the ends of the tails of calves. The calves, feeling that someone had caught them, would begin to flee here and there, and the babies would hold on very tightly, being afraid of how the calves were moving. The calves, seeing that the babies were holding them tightly, would also become afraid, and then the ladies would come to rescue the babies and gladly laugh. This was their enjoyment. That sounds kind of dangerous. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. There's a picture of that, isn't there? Baby Krishna and Balaram holding calves' tails. Let's see. There. See, there's a picture. Baby Krishna holding a calf's tail. That looks painful. Okay. Let's go back to the reading. Oh, really? This next verse 22. Wait, where are we? Oh, yeah. Oh, we already passed it. Okay. That's the one when Krishna would go and follow somebody thinking that the person was a mother. What was 22? Oh, yes. Ah. Yeah, it's such a sweet verse. Okay, 25. Did we already do this one? No. Okay. Shringa. God, Shringa. Oh, God, that's difficult to say. Shringyagni Dhyasi Jala Dijakantake Krida Parab Artichalo Swasuto Nishedhum Priyani Kartumapi Yatra Nataj Jananyo Shekata Apaturalam Manaso Navastam. When Mother Yashoda and Rohiṇī were unable to protect the babies from calamities threatened by horned cows, by fire, by animals with claws and teeth such as monkeys, dogs, and cats, and by thorns, swords, and other weapons on the ground, they were always in anxiety, and their household arrangements were disturbed. At that time, they were fully equipoised in the transcendental ecstasy known as the distress of material affection, for this was aroused within their minds. Wait, they were equipoised in the ecstasy of distress of material affection. Doesn't that seem to be, what's that word? Oxymoron? The swords just laying around on the ground. Why does it say swords? Asi. Does always mean swords? Because Garga is how you say swords. Asi. Okay. Continue. Sorry, guys. Purport. All these pastimes of Krishna and the great enjoyments exhibited by the mothers are transcendental. Nothing about them is material. They are described in the Brahma Samhita as Ananda Chinmaya Ras. In the spiritual worlds, there is anxiety, there is crying, and there are other feelings similar to those of the material world. But because the reality of these feelings is in the transcendental world, of which this world is only an imitation, Mother Yashoda and Rohiṇī enjoy enjoyed them transcendently. Kalinalpena rajarshe Rāma Krishnashta gokule Agrishta janubhi padbhir vichakram maturanjasa. O King Parikshit, within a very short time, both Rama and Krishna began to walk verily in Gokul on their legs, by their own strength, without the need to crawl. Purport. Instead of crawling with their knees, the babies could now stand up by holding onto something and walk little by little, without difficulty, by the strength of their legs. Okay, we're ending with this verse. Tatastu Bhagavan Krishna Vayasyar Vrajabalakai Saharama Vrajastrinam Chikride Janayan Mudam. Thereafter, Lord Krishna, along with Balaram, began to play with the other children of the cowherd men, thus awakening the bliss of the cowherd women. Purport. The word Saharama, meaning along with Balaram, is significant in this verse. In such transcendental pastimes, Krishna is the chief hero, and Balaram provides additional help. Okay, so in the next tomorrow, we will begin with how the gopis would go to Mother Yashoda to complain about Krishna. How he would be angry at the householders, and for his revenge, he would agitate the small children by pinching them. Then when the children began crying, Krishna would run away, would go away. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Dhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govardhana Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nikhil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shata Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Nārāyaṇa Gosai Mahārāja Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Nikhil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shata Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Mahārāja Ki Jai, Nikhil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shata Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Sai Mahārāja Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nikhil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shata Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Mahārāja Ki Jai, Nikhil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtara Shata Śrīmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nikhil Vishnu Mahā-Bhagavat Shri Vaishnav Mahārāja Ki Jai, Shri Saṅkarṣaṇa Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Nikhil Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dashagunath Sharda Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai, Namachay Shlahairas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Raja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradakta Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai, Shri Muna Devi Gamna Devi Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Kuti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai, Shri Brajendra Nanda Sham Sundar, Shri Krishna Chandra Ki Jai, Shri Rishabhanu Nandini Srimati Radha Thakurani Ki Jai, Shri Nanda Baba Yashoda Maya Ki Jai, Shri Sarva Braja Vasi Gan ki Jai, Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gan ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Vrindai Vasudeva Priyai Keshavashita Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. So, I'll see you tomorrow. Did you just take away my lights? That's so strange. Anyways, so see you tomorrow for reading about, what are we going to read? We're going to read about how Krishna was very naughty and he was stealing butter and different milk products, and we will read about Krishna eating dirt and Mother Yashoda looking into his mouth and seeing the whole universe. So that's all tomorrow. All right, Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hari Bol, Shyam Prabhu, Shah Sharma Ji. Dandavat pranams, everybody there. Hari Bol. See you tomorrow.